this upcoming holiday that's coming up, Pesach. So the second days of Pesach, the last 2 days that were coming up, they really start tomorrow night, Wednesday, Thursday. So what is special about these 2 days? And why do we celebrate them as a holiday, not just as like intermediate days of the holiday? See, right now it's like semi-holiday. It's Passover, it's Pesach. We don't have the restrictions of the holiday. We could drive, we could do a lot of things that we need to do. We can go to work if we need to. But the last 2 days of the holiday coming up, those 2 days are like real holidays. So what is special about those 2 days? So you would think that the splitting of the sea happens, it will be the eve of tomorrow night. So it'll be Tuesday night, Wednesday, and since we are in exile, we keep 2 days for the holiday. So therefore, Wednesday, Thursday, you would think that the reason to celebrate making it a special holiday would be just because of the fact that the sea split and the Jews got saved. It's one of the most amazing miracles that ever took place in the history of the Jewish people. And that should be a reason to celebrate. But interestingly enough, one of the commentators known as the Seporno, as well as others, even Rashi seems to say, that the reason we celebrate the 7th and the 8th day was because of the song of praise that the Jews sang after the sea. After they were saved by the splitting of the sea, they sang a famous song, a song of the sea, a song of praise to God. And that song is the reason why we celebrate this as a holiday, not just as, intermediate days of the holiday, but a real holiday with the restrictions and all the elements of joy that we're supposed to have on a typical Yom Tov with wine and meat, etc. So what is so special about a song? A song is such a special thing. Why is that so special? I mean, you would think the miracle would be a lot more powerful than the song, right? The actual miracle of why they sang the song, which is the splitting of the sea, you would think would be a lot more of a reason to celebrate than because of the song. So what is so unique, special about the song? So I'm going to throw at you a wrench. I think it's a marvelous question. And hopefully with that, we'll be able to give a good answer. Here's the question. Imagine that after the Holocaust, it ended in an amazing miracle that let's just say 20% of the Jews were saved in a miraculous fashion. Okay, God came in and he scooped us all together, something wild, and it was clear to the entire world that the Jews were saved from the hand of God. Do you think the Jews would sing a major song of praise to God? Extremely difficult. I mean, after such losses, right, of millions of people dying, you don't sing a song. Maybe you're thankful a little bit that you got out, you're safe, but it doesn't call for a tremendous song of gratitude to God. And we learned that in the plague of darkness, way back when the Jews were still in Egypt, there's one of the opinions holds that 80% of the Jews did not make it out. Why not? Because they didn't have enough strength, enough ability, enough interest to leave Egypt. And therefore, had it came time to leave and they would still be there and they would not leave, they would get to the 50th level of impurity and there would be no return. There would never be any opportunity for them to ever be reincarnated or come back in a different form, a different soul, through a different body. So therefore, God took their lives away early in order that they should at least be able to be part of the Jewish nation still. So imagine 80% of your people die. And then God splits the sea for you. Miraculous, unbelievable. You go ahead and you sing a song to God. The song of the sea, the most greatest song. How do you do that? It's crazy. I mean, they must have lost their minds. So I think we have to understand a little more about the song. And once we understand about the song, I think we'll be able to understand how they could sing it and why we should celebrate just for the song. In the song, it says that even the young children sang the song. As a matter of fact, it says even the children that were nursing, they stopped nursing to sing the song to God. There's an opinion in the Talmud that says that even the fetus in its mother's womb sang the song to God. Now, what does that mean exactly? That doesn't make any sense. Babies don't sing. Fetuses don't sing. In addition, the beginning of the song says, Oz Yashir Moshe. Then the Jewish people will sing. It doesn't say, and the Jewish people sing. It says they will sing. And the commentaries explain that's referring to the resurrection of the dead. When Mashiach is going to come, all the dead people will become alive again. And it's making reference to a song that will be in the future in the times of Mashiach, connecting with that element of Mashiach. So what does this all mean? You see, a human being has two parts. They have the physical part and the spiritual part. The physical
I was
part.
going to just say.
Oh, there you go. Leon's got it.
I was just going to say they felt it with their neshama, with their soul.
Oh, they felt it with their neshama. Exactly. So a person's soul, right, is connected spiritually. So this was a point in time. This element of going through the sea and this experience of tremendous spirituality, of a spirituality that was so great and such a relationship with God that their physical parts were almost irrelevant. It was the spirituality even of the children, of the babies, that had no real sense of what was going on, but they had enough experience, enough understanding of spirituality that it changed. Their physical parts were on hold, and they didn't need a nurse, and they sang praise to God. The fetuses in their mother's stomachs, even though normally they would be typically just a physical life, went completely spiritual and were singing the praises to God. That's how powerful this miracle was. And this song epitomized that miracle. Because the song is what it gave, is the way the Jewish people connected. It was the relationship that they took the miracle and turned it into the song of connection and relationship with God. And that was so powerful to even get the fetuses and the young babies to stop their physicality for a few minutes or whatever it was, to sing praises to God. And a Jewish person, see, we know that it's not just about the physicality, we know it's also about spiritual. I'll tell you an interesting thing, and it's an interesting perspective. It's hard to understand, but it's an interesting thing. Rabbi Wolbe, he was a great leader, passed away about 15 years ago, and he once related that he was in the DP camps after the war, and he was helping out with a Passover Seder with a bunch of different people that were, in all different circumstances and situations. And one guy tells him, he says, I had the most difficult job. What was my job? His job was to bury the dead of the gas chambers. I don't know how they buried them or whatever it was, but basically, getting rid of the decomposing of the Jewish bodies. And he said he also had the ability to hear the people walking into the gas chambers that know they're going to their deaths and what they said. And he said, literally without fail, every single Jew that walked into that gas chamber, no matter what their beliefs were before, said the famous verse of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And this survivor made the observation. He said, had these people lived out their lives, many were communists, many were socialists, many were atheists. Had they lived their lives and died at age 75 or 80, they probably never would have said that verse and never had any connection to God. And through the Holocaust, in the most difficult of moments, these people connected with Hashem. And he said it was inspiration this guy had, and he said this over to Rabbi Wolbe. And the Jews, even though perhaps 80% of their people died in Egypt, but they had the recognition that the spirituality is the most important thing. And that is the thing that is the ultimate. And that's much more important than the physical. So a person's going to go ahead and they're going to pass on. But they know there's a spiritual future. There's a time when Mashiach will come and people will be resurrected. People will come about again. And they'll be in a much better, greater way than they were right now. And it's the best thing for them. They're able to sing even though, physically it's very, very challenging. So the song was a representation of the Jews' understanding and their relationship with Hashem above physicality to a completely spiritual level, so much that even the babies were able to sing the spiritual song to God. that it enabled them to accept this difficulty and this challenge and sing this most amazing, amazing song. As a matter of fact, right before the song, it says that they had feared God and they had complete belief in God. And one of the understandings is the complete belief in God was, even though it was so challenging and so difficult, still they were able to connect with this most amazing feeling and relationship with God. There's a story of a woman who was a widow. And she was an Israeli woman, a widow. And she lost her son in one of the wars, her only son, her only child. So now she had no children and no husband. And she was so broken. And as she was walking through the cemetery of where her son was buried, she passed by the grave of one of the greatest rabbis. His name was Rabbi Levine. And as she passed by, this is what it said on the grave. It says on the grave of this great rabbi that anyone who passes by my grave should say wholeheartedly, I believe with complete faith that there will be a revivification of the dead whenever the wish emanates from the Creator, blessed be He, forever and for all eternity. And this is what gave her this element of hope, because she knows one day it will all come back. So when we're going to celebrate tomorrow night, the second part of this holiday, it's not just because of the miracle. There's a whole different level over here. It's a level of relationship with God that even the children and the babies were able to sing, even though they're in the most difficult of circumstances. Literally so many people died, right? They still were able to gather themselves together, sing with joy the song of the sea to God, which I think is really something which is so remarkable and so powerful. So specifically in our times right now, when we are dealing with the coronavirus, and there's a lot of tragedy, an element of hope, an element of where a person should strengthen himself is to recognize and to realize that there's a relationship with God that's above physicality. And that's for eternally. That's eternal. And one day, God will, bring everybody back. And we don't understand, and it's very difficult. But when you're able to take a higher level, it helps, deal with the more physical challenges.